All right. So, oh, my overlay is not made. I did not set this up properly. Anyways, hold on a second. Let's see if I can get this fixed. Why is there two widgets here? Anyways, we'll talk like this then. So yeah, hey everybody, I'm back, obviously. Yeah. So where have I been? That's the question, right? Where have I been? I'm reading at a lot on my channel that I came back to. It's been a while. Been on. I'm looking at months back. 4 months ago is the last subscribed. So yeah, where have I been? I've been in recovery, essentially. Getting better, to say the least. And by better, I mean I'm clean off opiates. And clean as in clean also off kratom. Because kratom, at the end of the day, is an opiate. But I'm clean. Like, I'm fucking clean. Can you believe it? No, I can't. But, anyways, I'm super proud of myself when I say it. I can't even believe it. Like, it's very surreal. But yeah, that's where I've been, guys. So, essentially, what happened was I made videos you can go look back on, but I'll just give us quick summaries that I did get into drug addiction, sadly, as many do. And I had struggles and all that, and finally found something called Kratom. Now, Kratom, this was a savior in a sense, but also it was problematic at the same time, to say the least, too, because I want to talk about the truth about kratom and just any substance abuse. I guess can be applied, I guess, but kratom specifically, I want to talk about. Sorry, I can't talk. My mouth is very dry. I don't know why. I mean, I do my medication. I take. I do take medication. Um, Call me not clean because of it. I don't care. I need it. So I should have got some water when I thought I was getting ready. So yeah, I'm ADHD. So this is what's going on. Is so with kratom, I essentially what happened was I started off using like oxys, like the usual stuff, oxy, Percocet, whatever, lean. I used to drink a lot of syrup, hydrocodone syrup, but the Canadian one here is instant release and it's 1 milligram per milliliter. It was some strong stuff. So, anyways, that happened, and I wanted to get better, so I got into a drug program. Started a drug called Suboxone, which was good, but also it made me sick. It made me this and made me that. So I changed this drug called Kratom that I found online on communities and doing through some personal research on just simply using Google and YouTube and whatever resources we all have for free. And even my doctor, I even asked, So, long story short, he wrote it off as to give it a try because he knew my Suboxone was making me sick, and there's days I'd throw up randomly, and it just didn't feel good. So I started the kratom, and it's saving my life in a sense that I possibly could have went back to oxys or everything because ironically I used oxys and I used Dilaudid again. That's another one I was addicted to. It's just another form of opiate. I could have went back. I could have went back, and and I did because I had to in my head, anyways. Because Suboxone, like, it's so strong that if I wanted to use kratom, it would be unrealistic to even dose. I would have to take like literally, I think, a bag of it per dose. Like, no joke. So I was on 12 milligrams, by the way. 12. Not like 2 or 4 or 8 max. So people get 12. So, yeah, I did that. I used, ironically, I've never got addicted to heroin or anything, but I used heroin to even get off it because I had no financing. I mean, in finances, like, as in terms, like, I couldn't afford to use these drugs again, let alone, like, I'm quitting using them to quit Suboxone, which is used to quit these drugs, ironically. It was very confusing. So, but I did it. I managed to use, heroin, and then I tapered off the heroin down onto oxys and Dilaudid, then tapered it down to where kratom was actually sustainable at a dose of 26 grams a day. It was 6 grams 3 times per day. That was actually manageable. Like that dose is fine. So it was like it was a journey to say the least between those days and kratom, especially because imagine being on Suboxone and then quitting it using the drugs you were addicted to. On top of that, using heroin. The irony, right? Anyways, so with that being said, after with the kratom, I made a video saying 30 days clean using kratom, and it was super ecstatic, going super well, felt way better than I did before. But I have to say something, guys, and I'm not saying anything bad. This is not like a message saying kratom is bad, but it's definitely a warning and just something to bring up, and people should talk about more because people tend to only bring up the pros and there's pretend like there's no cons, just like much like weed does, like weed people do. Like I love weed. Don't get me wrong either. Like I smoke it every day, but and so that you may not consider that clean, by the way. But I'm in Canada, by the way, meaning my doctor allows me to smoke pot. It's part of my medication. It is part of my daily routine and mental healthness recovery and all that stuff. It's been very very useful. So it's that's the another controversial topic. We'll skip this. So yeah, what was I saying? My ADHD kind of kicked in. Damn. Yeah, the kratom. So the kratom. Yeah, 30 days clean. I made a video. Super ecstatic. Felt amazing. I started making videos. As you can see, if you check my channel, I made like Pokemon videos and stuff. I had a blast doing it, but again, that was another addiction. I was filling in that gap, basically. So what happened was with the kratom, essentially, why I stopped even making videos, why I stopped even doing a lot of things, not only because Pokemon is expensive, but it's just I had no more motivation. I lost motivation. I started getting lazy, careless, going backwards, essentially feeling the same way I did when I was taking the drugs. So I had to quit the kratom. June, the first day of June, or towards the end of May. I can't remember the exact date because I'm not one of those people that like counts the days because I find that's like just don't do that. Just go day by day and that's it. But that's my advice and for it works for me. That may not work for you. Don't don't just follow me because that worked for me. Seriously, with my story, especially with the whole using drugs to get off Suboxone, do not do that. I just somehow found the willpower and that want to actually quit that badly. So to move on. Now, cons and pros. Cons of kratom and pros. We'll go start with pros, obviously. The pros are obviously pretty evident. It's very affordable, very accessible. It's legal. You can practically purchase it anywhere. You can go to head shops. Even you can get it online. I got mine from a place, a reputable place. They even FedExed it, next day delivery. Super easy. So that was very good. Um, so if you're a person that has to go to a clinic every day to get your doses, say of methadone or Suboxone, that's a bitch. Like just doing that is hard to do as an addict, let alone like if you don't have a car or if you're out in the country or it's far or whatever else. Life happens sometimes. Like you can't be at the same place every day, especially if you have work. Like, it makes no sense. Anyways, so yeah, Kratom is definitely very useful for people in that situation, which I was in a sense. And another thing that ended up happening was I stopped like, craving. So kratom did help the cravings. It does help the cravings. So that's another big pro because for opiate addicts especially is even when we quit, the temptation gets even worse to do it almost. Like it's called post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Like the cravings really just hit you out of nowhere too. It can be upwards to like 3 months later. Even longer maybe. I don't know. I didn't do enough research on that part for all the opioids, but with kratom, it definitely can last 90 days, and it does. The withdrawal and post-acute withdrawal syndrome can last even longer with it. So yeah, that brings us to the cons. So what happened again was I got lazy. I stopped doing what like my things that I enjoyed. I stopped gaming. Things that I actually used and needed to cope with my journey that I was going through currently at the time, especially. I had no interests. So what happened? Of course, I fell off the wagon. And it wasn't for very long. Don't get me wrong. It was just like a couple of days. But a couple of days is a couple of days. And it changed my whole thing. Like my wall I built up, I just crashed it down and had to rebuild, essentially, to put it in a quick analogy or metaphor. Um, so yeah, that's what happened. I stopped making Pokemon videos because I had no more ambition, no more motivation. I lost myself, my emotions, how to feel, and all sorts of stuff due to Kratom, actually. And the withdrawals, again, this is another thing people don't talk about. And it needs to be spoken about more and be spoken about realistically because there's nothing wrong with Kratom. It's a very beneficial thing if used correctly. But also, there are side effects that you're going to face because at the end of the day, it's an opiate. And not only is it an opiate, there's antidepressant properties to alkaloids in it. Alkaloids are just the active ingredients that, trigger our brain neurons. So, anyways, there's three things in kratom that we essentially dose ourselves with every time we take kratom. There's a stimulant kind of drug in it, you can say. There's antidepressant properties, and there's the pain killing properties, aka the opiates. Which that's why it helps with it, of course. Hits the opiate receptors and it makes the brain happy, and we don't need to take oxy or heroin or whatever else because the kratom does it for us, for the opiate addicts. And it also helps with depression and it helps with all sorts of stuff at first. Then it slowly switched on me. It went from, you know, clean to miserable, though. And being miserable and clean is not sustainable, especially when you're an ex drug addict or recovering drug addict in recovery. It's just not sustainable. So I just wanted to let you guys know I'm good. I'm actually off the kratom 100%. It's been since June. I haven't touched it. I've been clean. I had one slip up though, a few weeks ago. Weeks ago? No, it's been a month or two now, I guess. I did an oxy and I felt really bad about it and beat myself up for about like 3 weeks, lied in bed, depressed about it. But yeah, I'm past that hump and I'm not looking back. So to say the least, that's where I've been. And I'm gonna create more stuff. I'm gonna make some better content and maybe work on this channel again or do something. Even if it's about addiction and my journey, because there's a lot more to my story, sadly. I won't say sadly, it's just part of life. But yeah, I think the message is pretty well said. I'm alright, guys, and I'll be making more content. Maybe it won't be about Pokemon, but it'll be involving either mental healthness, mental health awareness, health, just ways to cope. Because I've gone through it all. I've had every addiction from heroin, crack. I've done meth. I've done fucking literally everything. It's like name me a drug. Like when people ask what drugs have you done, I'm like, you're better off asking me what drugs I haven't. And it's just only like two. So yeah. Uh, that's that for where I've been. But I'm not gone forever, guys. I'm here. I'm definitely here. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about Kratom. I will get into more deeper detail about that in another video, like an actual Kratom video. This is more just like an update, which is way too long, 16 minutes. All right, let's end this. Yo, guys, I love you all seriously, and stay clean. And if you just happen to stumble upon this, hit that like or sub, and it'd be really meaningful because I want to spread this message to people because it needs to be spread about kratom and yeah. So let's start with that, and I hopefully can make you another video better explaining it and not live like I am doing it now, just off the top of my head. I'll maybe make some notes and get research in front of me. That way, there's like proof and stuff, and I can better articulate it. So yeah, with that being said, I'm out, and that's my update. Take care, guys.